Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Behind the Groove podcast. I am DJ Keo.
And I am Basil Barrington, and we are back with another episode, Lord of the Rings of Power. IMDb is giving it an 8.5. This is the highest rated episode thus far.
Yeah, because they were in the 6s and the 7s up until now.
Yeah.
And okay, I have a theory about this. I think it's high rated because of it was action filled.
It's a battle, yeah.
Like the whole episode was a battle from the beginning to end. So I think that's why people were like, "Yay! Finally, stuff is happening! Yay! No more talking and walking around scouring at people. Like stuff is happening right now." So they're hype about that.
I mean, looking at this episode, I watched it twice. I actually watched it again this morning. And I don't know. I mean, even the battle, I wasn't excited about the battle, you know?
Yeah. The problem is for me, because I've seen the movies, I've seen battles. Right? The movies have battles. They're epic. We had like thousands of people like fighting and whatever. It looks like thousands of people were there. And so when you're doing a TV show, you can only have hundreds of people there, and it's not the same. Especially like the scope and scale. Like I think one of the problems I have with the show is that it doesn't feel as large as the movies does.
Yeah.
The movie like this giant world, and these guys are traversing just miles of terrain, going over mountains, underground. They're doing all this kind of stuff, and the TV show just feels like a little section, like a subsection. You can't really do anything about that because the budget's not. Well, no, can't say the budget's different. The budget.
I was about to say, you're saying it's not. It doesn't look big, but it's like
the budget's the exact same as the movies.
Oh, really?
I think they spent more in this. They spent more in this TV show than the movies.
I would think so. I mean, like I don't think these movies got like $250 million, right?
No, they filmed all 3 movies together for I think it's like $300 million or something like that.
Wow,
or $250 million.
Man, they made out on this movie, huh?
Oh, they made bank because of this movie. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't, like I said, man, even though there was a battle, it just didn't really feel, I mean,
it wasn't as epic.
Yeah, I wasn't excited because, I wasn't like, I mean, everyone talks about the orcs. You were talking about the orcs, and I'm like, these orcs are completely bumbling, dude. They're like complete idiots, right? It's just like, here they come with the torches, just like, right? And they have like bow and arrows and things like that, blades and everything. And I'm like, dude, I mean, they just walked into this place. And
yeah,
I mean, it was hundreds of them, and it was like maybe 100 of these other people, the humans, and they couldn't even take over.
Yeah, okay, we gotta talk about the strategy and stuff like that, but like, there be any strategy? They're just like, let's go, and we're gonna kill everybody in town. Okay, but like, who's gonna do what? Like, they were prepared, and the human strategy was terrible. So they had a place where they were protected from that was difficult to get to. And they trapped the orcs in there and destroyed it. And they went to the tavern in the town and said, "This is going to be our place where you can attack us from all the angles," which they did. and they lost. And then, honest to God, if there was no cavalry coming, it was a wrap. This thing was over.
It's completely over.
Because it was a Adar where he just started slicing mofos up when he got inside. He's like, hold that.
Adar. I mean, yeah, man, it's like, and here's the other thing, right, with this episode. On the real, I was slightly disappointed with this episode, right? Because, when they're like, when Numenor and like the elves got together and they were like, let's go to Southlands, let's protect this, let's, put this king back in, in place. And so they had 3 boats. And these 3 boats were able to hold hundreds of horses.
There's a magical
hundreds
boat.
of people, hundreds of horse-like armor, hundreds of weapons, thousands of weapons.
They had barns. They had a barn. They had stables. They had a bunch of stuff on this boat. It's a magic boat.
Come on.
It should have been a fleet of if you had a fleet of 20 boats, I would be like, okay, all right. Yeah, 3.
Yeah, that wasn't realistic.
Does not compute.
No, that wasn't realistic. And here we have the orcs with like torches and everything, and like, and it's just like, dude, I don't get this. And then Adar, like
Yeah.
what is this guy? I mean, like, why not just kill him too? It's just like this guy's an idiot. I mean, why are you trying to
There's
protect
no
them?
logic.
It's no
There's no
logic at
logic to
all.
any of this. And the kill me, the part that was hilarious to me was Galadriel was like, "Don't kill him. We need information." And she
Right.
started talking to him like, "I'm gonna kill you right now." Like,
Dude,
what
like
the hell?
you don't need any information. Sauron, who
What's
knows?
he
I
gonna
mean,
tell you?
the regent could be Sauron. I don't know, right? I mean, who
Yeah.
knows? This is a magical movie anyway, like maybe or like TV series. I mean, maybe these
Yeah.
people can turn into whoever. I don't know, man, but this
Well, they're saying
fantasy
that
stuff.
Halbrand is. They think that Halbrand's Sauron. Everyone says Halbrand's Sauron
Yeah.
because
I mean,
he's the king of the Southlands. Sauron's
mm,
running the Southlands. They think it's him.
yeah.
I think he's gonna turn evil or he's possessed or I don't know. I don't understand the logic.
He
They got
did
some
say
logic for it.
Halbrand did ask Adar, like when he had him down, like, do you know me or do you remember me? I wonder what that means.
Yeah, they have some kind of relationship here.
Yeah, they do.
Adar didn't want to say. He was like,
Right.
I don't know.
I am your brother, Savron.
Yeah.
Like
they have some kind
really?
of history. I don't know what's going
Yeah.
on here.
This
But
is
like
like
Sauron is magical, mystical anyway. He can possess you. He can do a bunch of stuff. So like who knows what they're gonna do with him, how they handle it.
right. And so in this episode, we told the Flintstones were not even in this episode.
Yeah, he got rid of. That's why the score's higher because they're not in there.
Oh.
Those evil bastards with hairy feet, they're not in this show.
Or is this like, and
They got
why
rid
is
of them.
everyone so dirty in this like flick? It's just like, oh my goodness. And here's something else that's
I
weird.
don't make any sense.
I don't get this. It's like they are surrounded by water.
How are they just nasty?
Everyone is filthy, smelly.
Take a bath.
Oh my goodness, come on.
Lord of the Rings is the opposite of that. Everyone's got showers. They're people nice and clean. They have villages and stuff. The village people don't look like they're homeless. They look like they live in the village. They wash their clothes. Like, I don't understand what's going on right now. They're like grunge. We need grunge. More dirt.
I don't know, man. It's I don't know. And then what's her name? Galadriel.
Mm-hmm.
She all the sort of slick moves she was doing on a horse. It was just like woo, all that sort of stuff. And I'm just like,
why? It's over the top for no reason.
I mean, like, okay, so in this entire episode, right? Episode number 6, she did 2 moves. And they weren't even slick, but that was the slickest thing in that episode. Those 2 not slick moves.
Hanging off a horse. That was like, ooh,
that's
look at that.
Twice, just like, oh my goodness. It's just
all right.
like, I still like the storyline, but it's a little boring. I'm not even going to front, right?
We're getting where the rubber meets the road here because they built up Mount Doom. So now you got the volcanoes happening now.
Yeah.
The Southlands is kind of wrecked because of the volcano. And Halbrand is back in the Southlands. I don't know what he's going to do there. Like, you're kind of starting to tell where this thing is going. And I don't know how they're going to land this plane to make it interesting. Because I got to be honest, all the shows I've watched, I'm like, it looks like Lord of the Rings. It's got the feel of Lord of the Rings. You got the singing and all the stuff like that. But it's just not a compelling story for me.
No,
like, it's not obvious what's happening on the screen and who's doing what and why. Like the intentions, whatever. Galadriel's the only person that you know what she's doing because she keeps telling you, I'm going to go find Sauron. She tells you every 5 minutes, hey, I'm looking for Sauron. But like she's the only person that's letting you know what the hell she's doing. Right. Everybody else, their intentions are vague. And it's like, where they're going with the story. I don't really know. I don't understand. I think that's a problem with the writing staff. And I think a lot of people are probably going to get fired in season 2 and they change showrunners and the justice because Amazon needs this thing to work. And you need people happy with what they're getting too. And they're not right now. I can tell you right now, I've talked to a bunch of people who've seen the movies. They're watching the show and they're like, Game of Thrones is better. That's the reaction I got from everybody that's watched Game of Thrones and the Lord of the Rings thing. Everybody's like, Game of Thrones is better. Better storyline, better interesting characters, everything.
Well, you know what? I was just about to say, I think Andor is better.
Yeah, I've finished watching Andor yet.
Yeah,
I heard really good things about Andor.
Andor, I mean, you would think that the same sort of stuff that we're seeing with Lord of the Rings, right? The Ring of Power.
Mhm.
Um, the $250 million set. Again, we said
Mhm.
the visuals, CGI, all that is gorgeous, right?
Mhm.
But Disney already had all that stuff. It's already set up, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, I think it's a question of direction and writing the
yeah,
scripts, like the plans for the scripts. I think that
right.
more so than anything else, that seems to be the problem with this show is that they don't really they haven't done a good job focusing the story to where it needs to go. Like it's interesting and you know that stuff is gonna happen. You're like, okay, stuff is gonna happen. All right. I can't wait. But you're still like struggling to figure out what the hell's going on. Like a good example of this is like, do you know the names of the characters? Like we don't know the name. I don't care the
They're too
names.
difficult to pronounce, man. Come on.
Yeah.
It's just
You
like,
gotta
can
roll
we
your
just have, is
R's.
there a Peter, Leroy, like, I
Yeah.
don't know, Punny, I don't know. Give me some weird names, man. Like these
Yeah,
names
but
are
like
weird, The
it's
point I
not
was trying to make
interesting.
though is,
Mm-hmm.
yes, the Lord of the Rings, this show is it's $1 billion, but like you said, they spent like
Yeah.
a $250 million on the rights. So they
They spent
basically
money. They
spent
spent a grip.
$250 million on this episode. I mean, on this
Mm-hmm.
season.
Mm-hmm.
Thus far with Andor, it kind of looks like it could be a $250 million.
It looks more expensive. You know what?
Yeah.
Andor had real. I think they had real sets. They shot on location, not just in the green screen thing they were
Mm-hmm.
doing.
It looks
Or
like
the
that
what's it
too.
called? They call it the volume. The that's what they
The
call it with
vault,
the
right?
screens.
The vault or
Yeah,
the volume. Yeah,
no,
something
it's
like
called the
that.
volume
The
where they have all
volume.
the screens and they've been filming, cutting costs down because there's too many shows on Disney Plus. We're getting out topic, but there's too many shows. They're knocking them out too much, and so I think
Well,
they spent more time on Andor, and it shows. It looks like a better thing.
it like Andor looks really good, but I'll say this about like Lord, right? Again,
Mm-hmm.
watched it. We're five. What are we? 5 episodes and 6 episodes
Is it fifth
and
episode?
it is the, let me put
Yeah,
on the
it's the sixth one. Yeah, it's the
bifocals. Yeah,
sixth.
it's the sixth one.
Yeah, it's
Yes,
the sixth episode. Yeah.
we have 3 left, right? So I'm kind of
Mm-hmm.
excited about that we have 3 episodes left, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we
Yeah,
can be
yeah, we're gonna
done
be
with this,
done.
right? But I haven't seen anything thus far yet.
Mm-hmm.
Storyline is awesome, but in
Mm-hmm.
terms of a quarter, I don't see it. I don't see it, man. I said it last week. I don't see it. I don't see this here. And
I
this
agree.
episode was super duper boring, even with the battle, because the battle, when we look at the stuff the stuff we review, when there are
Mm-hmm.
battles, right,
Mm-hmm.
between groups of people, these battles are serious. They're epic. Here we have
Yeah,
like,
the
I don't even know
battles,
what year this is set in. What is this, like
idiots.
1050 BC? I don't know what year this is.
No, like it's like millennia before men took over the earth. That's
Okay,
what it's
so
supposed to
they have
be.
these like rudimentary weapons and everything. They do have like iron makers and things like that, so it's all good.
Mm.
But I don't see the big budget. I don't see it here. I'm like I mean, honestly, if I were like, watching this myself, I would probably
Mhm.
stop watching it.
Yeah, yeah. I
You know?
agree. It's not as exciting as it should be,
Yeah.
especially because of the universe you're in and the things that you have available to yourself because of the budget and everything you're doing. It feels like amateur hour. That's the best way I describe it. It doesn't feel polished. Like you have showrunners that are doing a show and they've been in the game for like 20 years, and you're like, well, we can't do that. This doesn't make any sense. We got to finish the storyline, make this more polished. It feels like this is like the first draft of a TV show before studio heads get in like, we need more of this, we need more whatever. Like they get in there and they edit it down and make it more polished. This is what it feels like. It doesn't feel like it's finished. It feels like it's in the middle of getting started. Like as far
So
as
this
writing goes.
so this volcano exploding
Mhm.
presumably will destroy Southlands, right?
Well, that's where Sauron is going to make the ring, the one ring to rule them all. The the Lord of the Rings. That's where he's going to make that ring.
From a volcano.
Inside that volcano, that's the only place that can destroy it. You got to go in that volcano and destroy the ring in there,
But
and
right
that's
now,
where he's going to make it.
now that the volcano has erupted, it's going to destroy people like in
Yeah, yeah, it's going to
Southlands,
wreck
right?
shop in that area. It's going to
Yeah.
be
So
He's
that's
gonna ruin
including the
lands down there.
orcs. It could mean also like Adar. It could also mean your homegirl. Oh, and the other thing about her is
Well,
here the cavalry is coming. She is the only person on a white horse. Why?
that's not symbolism. Like, look at me, look at me.
Why?
Like,
I mean, even the regent is not on a white horse, right?
yeah, that would make more sense to give the regent the white horse, but
Right. You
whatever.
know,
Like,
so I mean, so it's a little there's some stuff here that's a little backwards here, you know, but I mean,
because they made the focus Galadriel too much rather than be the story. It should have been like a story of man, and this was going on here, and their side of what happened before the Battle of the Rings. I've been cool with that. But this is the Galadriel hour, and everything's about her, and it's kind of annoying. Like when they're doing a battle, and the elves, everybody stopped. Like, look, it's Galadriel here. I wanted to throw up in my mouth. I was like, what is this?
yeah,
Who talks like this in a battle?
right.
I was like, oh my God, General Patton's here. Yay. We're like, no, like, get to work. What are we doing here?
She did
That
say
was so
something.
corny.
She did say something that was pretty slick. She said, one cannot satisfy thirst by drinking seawater.
Oh,
And
the
I was just
seaweed.
like,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's kind of dope right there. I gotta like write that
Yeah,
down.
that was a good line. That was a good line.
I was like, I gotta write that down. That's
No,
pretty dope. I
with
may have
that,
to use that
with
in the office. You know, when someone says something stupid, one cannot drink. One cannot, satisfy thirst by drinking seawater. You know,
I have a
hopefully that'll
question
get
for
me a
you.
raise. What's up?
Why did everybody just stand there when the smoke was coming from the volcano? Like Galadriel just stood there. Rather than get for cover, she just stood there and looked at it. Like, oh, okay. Smoke is
So
coming.
that's going to be interesting this next episode because that's where they have to kick it off. And I just want to see what happens. Maybe she, jumps down a hole or something. I don't know. It's like so weird.
She just stood there and
she just stood
thing
there, dude.
devoured
I was
her.
just
It
like,
just went right over her head.
she knew what was going on, and it's just like, hey. So I don't know, man, but I still think this episode, the storyline was still good, right? The CGI, the visuals was still good. They had some,
good.
yeah.
It needs direction though. That's the problem with this show. More
The
than anything else,
writing,
it
yeah,
needs direction.
they need to tighten this up a little bit because it's something missing. It's something missing.
Yes.
Since I've been watching this show on Amazon, Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, I've also been watching other stuff as well, right? And the other stuff I've been watching blows this away. Blows it away.
Yes.
I mean, I just finished up The Sandman, and The Sandman is super, super intriguing. And I'm just like, wow, really? The Sandman?
Yeah. Because you got a good story. You're adapting something that's, I think it's a comic book they adapted. And, they know where this thing is going. Because these guys are winging this show right now.
Yeah.
Because there's a void in this storyline for Lord of the Rings because you don't have the rights to the other stuff. So they're like, this is a circle that we can touch. We can do whatever we want in here. And they're trying to make it feel like Lord of the Rings without making it feel like Lord of the Rings. And this is a problem.
Well,
they don't have any idea where to take this story. I don't feel like they know
who owned the rights. Who owned the rights?
It's the Tolkien family estate owns the rights still.
Okay, so you mean to tell me they didn't want to take that and like make it into like a prequel or another movie or something like that? They didn't want to do that?
The problem is that the Tolkien family, or Tolkien's son, and the people that handle the estate, they're a dead set against making adaptations for these books and movies. And they tolerated. Me personally, I think the Peter Jackson movies were phenomenal, and the state tolerated them. They're like, this is not great. It is what it is. That's how they felt about. I give those movies 10 out of 10s, and they were like, this is trash. So when it came down to this, they waited until the son of Tolkien died, and then they swooped in and tried to buy the rights to it. And I guess some cousins or whoever was in charge of the state now was like money, but they couldn't get rid of everything else because it's tied up in some other stuff.
Right.
So they couldn't give them the books and everything like that. So they have to work around this thing for the time being until they can get the rights to the full thing. And I don't know what they're going to do with it because you can't remake these movies and make them better. It's impossible.
Yeah. And I don't know. I think I would have taken $250 million just to sell the rights to someone as
Yeah,
well.
the
I
state,
think,
because
yeah.
the state made a fortune from the movies. Like
I
each of
mean,
the movies made almost $1 billion each. So
and they like you said, they only spent $300 million. They recorded all three
in
movies.
total,
I was looking
for
at
all
the
3 movies.
I was looking at the dates of these movies, and dude, they're like one right after the other. It's not like a movie in 2000 and then another one in 2010. It's not like Star
Yeah,
Wars.
no,
They're right
they
back to
shot
back.
all of them together back to back. So
Yeah.
they put the first one out, second one
Yep.
the next year, third one's the year after that. Just
That
went down
is
through.
super duper smart. No need to say,
Yes.
okay, we're going to put another movie together. It's going to take 2 years to record. It's like, James Bond movies. It's just like we get one, you get another one like 5 years later, 10 years later. You got to wait, yada, yada, yada. Anything that's on Disney, you got to wait for it because these people are so...
years for the next thing to come out and whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know when Loki's coming out.
Get this thing done.
Just get it done, man. Get people like, okay, can you make a 3-month commitment to like record like 4 movies? Yes, we're going to be in this one location, I don't know, man. I don't know about this. This is episode number 6. We have 3 episodes left. I'm definitely going to watch these 3 episodes.
Let me ask you this.
Do
you think they're going to stick the landing and make this whole series worth it by the 9th show?
No. No. And here's the thing, right? And here's the thing. Yeah. Again, like I said, I'm pure. I've never watched the movies. I keep saying that, right? And I'm disappointed. And I'm disappointed like the people who read the books. I'm just like, where's this going? It's like, it's not, the dots aren't connecting.
Yeah.
I don't know.
When you watch the movies, you're going to flip tables over. You're going to be so mad.
Well, here's the movies. Well, here's the thing, right? I'm going to...
Because it's a wasted opportunity here. That's why.
Right. But here's the thing, right? And we're going to wrap this up. I'm going to watch the movies, but I'm a little skeptical about the movies, and I'll tell you why. And this is just me. The whole fantasy sort of stuff, the fantasy thriller stuff, it's, I don't know, it's just a little weird, it's just like, you got all these weird names, you got midgets, you got like elves who look like Vulcans. It's just like, are they elves or Vulcans? I mean, I don't know. And then it's just like, you have the orcs, and I'm just like, that's a kind of mysterious, like weird, set of people to put in there,
I'll say this, all right? I hated this genre before I watched the movies. I despise the genre. I like sci-fi and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I hate the genre. And one day I sat there watching movies. I was like, oh my God, this is good.
Okay. See.
This is really good.
Right. Because that's how I feel. I'm not into this genre.
Through, like, oh. Yeah.
That's how I feel. I'm not into this genre. And you know what? Again, although I am pure, I don't know if that was like for me, that was the right thing to do. However, in hindsight, like maybe I should have watched the movies first, but I didn't want to spend.
No. It's good that you didn't watch it. Like you're not corrupted, so like you're. Because I'm corrupted. I'm cynical of everything because I've seen the movies.
But I mean, look, I'm cynical too, and I've never watched the movies because this looks really weird. Yeah. It's something about it that's not connecting for me. I don't think they can stick this. What are they sticking?
Yeah, that's the question I have. I'll say this though. I'm banking on this. When you watch the movies, you're like, Keo is good. It was good.
Yeah,
I liked it. I will put money down on that. I'm gonna say that right now. I think you're gonna be like, this is good. All right.
Okay, so, Keo, what is your rating? Episode number 6, Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. Yes.
I give it a 7 because they tried.
Really?
They tried a lot. They tried really hard. I'll give it a 7.
You know what? I'm also going to give it a 7. I didn't like this episode, but you know what? They did do... There were some additions here. I mean, you had the battle.
They tried.
They tried, so you got to give them, this is a creative process, right? So they tried, so I'm going to give them. It's not like Cosmic Sin where we gave that, like a -7? I gave that joint like a negative, like 140.
I can't believe that movie exists. Bruce Willis owes some guy some money, like loan sharks. You better be in this movie or break your ankles.
Yeah, so I gave him a 7 because they tried, and I'm not quite sure how this movie is going to, or how this series is going to end this first season, but they got a lot of work to do, man, in terms of trying to stick this. They got a lot of work to do, because what next? Crap. Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but We both gave this a 7 because that's how we feel. IMDb, you guys gave this like an 8.5. Yeah, so kind of in the same pocket.
You know what's coming, right? Because it's not going to be more action in the next show. The next show is going to be a lot of walking and talking, exposition. They never follow up 2 shows with more action. This is going to be walking and talking next episode. Watch.
Well, there you have it. Another episode of the Behind the Groove podcast. I am Basil Barrington.
I am DJ Keo.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And until next time, peace.
All right.